Hello, Connecticut, America, and world. Species volume. Species body volume here. It's individual bodies because it is a body. That which is in physics, metaphysics, and identity, that bound by that which is greater than that and more finite simultaneously. Excuse me. I was, in the perfect world defended, which comes with the hyper perfect world, which comes with evolution's fruits and gifts, means out of nowhere we are a fact sheet nature. What to do about war? So we, since semi-ancient times, we have a breaching method effectively having been applied against each modern nation, each modern land, country, territory, whatever, whatever the syntax. Everywhere the human species body volume is, people are blaming other things, others, and ourselves. Exactly the way that for the real causes of negative value, nature progressions, acts, and natures acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal insidious natures, wrongdoing, wrongdoers, wrongdoing itself. These are words and phrases used relevant to needs to counter those words and phrases, like predicate acts, which is a word and phrase valued by the law, simultaneously, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously valued by English, which uses the word predicate because, and the predicate act phrase used by the law is who commits a predicate act is a criminal insidiousness nature. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal, I'm not a judge, I'm not military. Boxing for hyper sports. Boxing, martial arts, and wrestling, they share this identity that is differentially, individually grouped and together in demonstration of itself, being differentially constantly through where and how it is, all of its exceptions and exception nature. For example, as that value of that which really unfolded as truth before the order of the finite now, before the leaders of modern countries were even born. Semi ancient countries, lands, territories already involved with the sciences abridged. See, with Constitution, we're supposed to get unabridged. We're supposed to get and understand where and how the physics, the metaphysics, and the identity slash IES of a Native Americans A through Z, and then and colonists A through Z by the same breaching method, and then further against Native Americans A through Z, including that as Native Americans as Americans A through Z, and then further, distinctly further still against them A through Z, against even when for them, everybody, because they know that we are going to have to use each other's names and our own, and or not use it, relevant to everything being systems, tactical ulterior from that one, which is native pure that we are all bridge systems from. Know how we are in outer space, and not just that it is used remotely. Know how remote uses of colonies, how roles with that was self-valued when people were making positive and negative treatments. In other words, because that was the law. In other words, everyone was fact, human nature slaved, enslaved, fact, human nature wise. They took it sickly, distinctly against any difference, male, female, Native American colonists, type of white. And see, no one ever let whites of eyes, black pupils, that science unabridged, that which is conjunction to the sciences unabridged, the Constitution unabridged, Marbury versus Madison unabridged. So the plan, we just like they do, plans, training, for war in order to prevent war. And we need to put forth something to overcome. So sanctions treatments and wars treatments and defenses of themselves, they were and are simultaneously defenses of criminally foreign influence premises treatments, fact cheaping nature qualities and aspects. As criminally legalized, criminal insidiousness natures of positive and negative treatments and uses of it, roles and natures and methods that everyone missed and misses because they don't fathom anyone could, in other words, as victim reactions, reaction natures, non-reaction natures, and actually manifest relativity to database relationships since before computers. The ancient republic is a database relationship, but then it became criminally foreign influenced and for a method that knew that could trick, hurt, and persuade. The phenomenon of semi-ancient human volume science members of humanity, and then now modern countries to self-value where and how we are now individuals grouped and together species volume science, all others tactically for other ulterior from that one which uses the ground and ourselves distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously as itself. The Hamill's hyper simultaneous is part of how we could see it, discern its course. The value of ground to the electrical engineering of our correlation nature before, and then while as the value of the electrical engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer. This is the phenomena of the appearance of their being. Or forget that. Let's stay on the war part. And the syntax part means syntax means where words are functional, where they are functional. Everything is functional by what is invisible but still discernible. And that stays true because of how the hyper invisible but still discernible, which is distinct from that, but is also non-distinct from that. And is also what languages were revealed to teach because the sciences share an identity. So note how if you bring up a subject /s, even a huge one, like slavery, you bring up a relationship to the sciences, how they share. In other words, you bring up sociology instantly with that subject. You bring up distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously from how you bring up psychology, for example. No roles with the original still with formal delusions never having been separated as evidence. No, where treatments of black simultaneously never afforded us all the revelations with the protraction from those revelations in short words regarding where and how nature is demonstrating to us humanity. Understand you have black pupils and whites of eyes, and there is invisible but still discernible. And the way and how it is invisible but still discernible is by having its identity as volume, as the invisible, but increasing its value is one of the ways it is visible but still discernible. Its identity of relationship to itself as value as nature / nature as value, also only increasing as value. In other ways, it's only invisible. And the value of that also as value as nature / nature as value, which is three ways. They're invisible but still discernible. For example, the predicate, the subject in the sentence are three ways the invisible but still discernible is bound. I'll gather around. So also three ways. Each word spells out each letter spells out a word, each letter of the English alphabet, and each word spells out a sentence. Three ways. In other words, 1/3/5. How it is plurality, how it is three ways bound, is the same way. Each cell of your body is a cell nucleus, a cell body, and is a cell wall. It's the three distinct identities, but they share an identity, your complete identity. The battery is running low. You might want to plug in your PC. Okay, so I forgot where we were at. I'm going to lose the time. The point is to understand the uses of the names, to understand how that misinformation, both sides of the simultaneously locked and locks in victim reactions that can only have increasingly self-value, that only having been per the breaching method that was sophistication here and there before our founding parents were even born. It had slavery North and South America. America doesn't understand this because the breaching method saw what our founders could only go like this to leave for us to understand. So they measured and maintained. It not understood yet because it was sophistication before us. It took it away from us, takes away from us in our faces. See, president/chief, to suspend all disbelief. So in other words, one thing we could do is know that the countries involved in trying to get pulled into it, like ourselves, America. In other words, because no one has to describe how everyone was already forced automatically bound by nature itself. See, that's denied by the syntax of these systems, individually grouped in together. They can't speak for their positive. They can't defend their positive and negative treatments any country at once. Thank God. Just like thank God, nature itself will demonstrate negative value, nature progressions, acts, and natures, a negative identity of relationship to itself, its volume, and the value of that. When a system's tactical ulterior from its own that entertain that slavery method too, again, sickly distinctly against every single person, no matter how powerful, even a leader, no matter how powerful you could get, you could only be over locations, areas, and states with simultaneously criminally foreign influence, criminal and seditious natures of positive treatments, negative treatments, identity treatments, simultaneously being and having been self-valued, relevant to the significance of things were fact. In other words, we have to know that there are other countries and things in conflicts with the countries involved. If we try to make an agreement, it's what forces subjects treatments party from where and how there is a guiding identity, increasing value of the simultaneous per science. So it's the science of pantheism/hyperpantheism. But it requires uses of individuals' contemplation and by the same shared method, that volume science that humanity is, why and how really we are individual bodies, grouped and locations, areas, sexes, ages, everything is a demonstration of the invisible bliss. It answers all questions, individually grouped and together. See, but now the breaching method did it, a method that has self-value where and how all identities of corruption, insidious natures of positive treatments, identity treatments, title treatments, locations, voice teachers treatments, individually grouped and together. All that corruption too then further was made collusion where it kept it and keeps it is where it's kept at locations. As styles needed to hide from her who would use the mind the way it's supposed to be used, for example. So the other we have to know that countries are forced to use their names and our own names in our country's group, that they can't defend that and afford discern. American history, any history properly. Since before cars, the suburbs were designed to cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, let alone the urban, how things were made to unfold. It was a trap that was measured out by the sophistication that was here. It knew that a revolution was gonna come. The only thing that enabled it to come sooner is one thing: is the Native Americans and James Madison's and their plan. And remember, they did not have free speech, or they would have been censored by the breaching method. That was completely syntax oriented, fact nature oriented. So people say A, therefore B. Forget about it. We just superimpose, we'll juxtapose, and mean stack, and we'll spread it out. These are tactically denatured. In other words, the whole species body wants to do this. It's not going to happen when we're preventing individuals. We should be lucky we could have one person to speak for physics, for where physics, metaphysics, and identity are bound. It shows where and how they are, what is non-distinctly bound, which the only thing they can do bond it non-distinctly is that which revealed us as this volume science, individual / species body, as a value / value progression. They want to run out of time. So control the mind. All we have to do is let them have the syntax way. And we could, all that energy that goes into war or sanctions, it's all keeping, even peaceful nuclear energy. You have to defend something that could blow up. Negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures are self-valued. And no one fathomed where and how such could be used remotely. Not one other identity of the ground location has not been used remotely, and have self-valued that, and that was used remotely too. All that. So in other words, now then we could know, okay, see if we make if they make subjects treatments or agreements, even if everyone agrees and with steps forward and things like that, then everyone else didn't get healed. Plus, we're on all countries A through C. This is tactically denatured, specifically made negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. So it could be the fake exceptions and exception nature. Because it knew since ancient times, the language is revealed to teach about exceptions and exception nature. The cell body is 5 distinct identities of sequence nature, /3 is 1/3/5 identities of sequence / simultaneous nature in demonstration of a further positive or negative relationship to itself. In demonstration of that identity of volume of as the value of the hyper simultaneous. That which is the complete identity of every individual, every group, and the species body. And while as what is more, while it is simultaneously less, as the rest of the living earth here, and as the rest of the exception nature. Everything's in demonstration. So the part of the ground with the electrical engineering of our language, of our minds, is to discern it that way. Its volume as the hyper invisible, as its identity of relationship to itself, per its system, hyper native pure / native pure. That's how we can discern it too. And as the value of that. And that's a conjunctive that's added to by the as the ground, because it wants us to discern. It wants all the parts of your body to discern your one identity of sequence / simultaneous nature. What's positive to it? Then because we are simultaneously semi-nature relationship to that which revealed us this way. Actually, the scientific value of that which is actually hyper simultaneous. We don't have to agree about the name. That's the first part of the Old Testament and of the Quran are about. See, the first part of the Old Testament and of the Quran, even the stewards of the religions are obfuscating it, preventing it from being valued, where value is nature / nature is value. Because since semi-ancient times, since before modern religions, science is therefore people's positive and negative treatments, identity treatments, native treatment, tactical terror. Still abridged sciences. So it affects reception of that which is, truth reception. Truths are used for lies. All lies. There are means. So there's the same, it's a differentially, constantly, increasingly, it's differentially to make it look differentially, constantly, increasingly, criminally, foreign influence, locations, areas, and states of all, everywhere the human's volume is. It knew that everyone will have to blame other things other than themselves as fact, human nature wrongly, and then defending that, incapable of countering it through such. This was sophistication here first, before anyone. So we have that to counter syntactically, even if it's not a standing hyperarchetypal criminal enterprise. It was and is other ways discernibly standing. So discernibly counterable, and also through where and how such has been countered wrong. Vaccines. It is what vaccines. Sometimes control your minds. Thank you. We could do this instantly. In other words, other countries will mean staff for you guys too, and we'll have the people who will help you. People when we're on the same page, we know that everyone's in a trap. We're going to have that trap admitted. That's in other words, just the admission, just keeping it real. Keeping it real, there is no freedom yet, not anywhere. See, black, hey,